Massive overnight protests this morning in various parts of Jammu and Kashmir after terrorists killed a Kashmiri Pandit in a crowded government office in the Budgam district of Jammu and Kashmir yesterday. Well, just a short while earlier, protesters have clashed and tear gas shells were fired to disperse those protests. Rahul Bhatt, a Kashmiri Pandit, was fired upon at the Tehsildar's office in Chadura village. He was critically injured and then shifted to a local hospital where he died of his injuries. Police say 2 terrorists had barged into the government office and shot him at point-blank range. Massive protests following that killing, as Kashmiri Pandits say they've been let down by the centre and they now feel unsafe.
मेरा नाम रंजन जोशी है। तो हम यही बताना चाहेंगे, ये एक बहुत ही दुखद समाचार अभी आया। जिस तरह से राहुल भट्ट को टेररिस्टों ने निशाना बनाया है और ऑफिस के अंदर 2 टेररिस्ट घुसे हैं और उसको गोलियों से भून डाला है, ये बहुत ही दुखद समाचार है। इस दुख की घड़ी में पूरे जितने भी हम माइग्रेंट एम्प्लॉयज घाटी के अंदर काम कर रहे हैं, हम इस दुख की घड़ी में हम उनके परिवार के साथ खड़े हैं। तो हम इसको कंडेम करते हैं, इस शेमफुल इंसिडेंट को कंडेम करते हैं और इसके साथ साथ हम गवर्नमेंट से भी अपील करते हैं कि अगर उन्होंने हमें यहाँ पे लाया हुआ है, क्या यही हमारी रिहेबिलिटेशन है? क्या उन्होंने हमें यहाँ पे मरने के लिए लाया है? यहाँ पे कोई सिक्योरिटी के कोई भी इंतजामात नहीं है।
पीसफुली रह रहे यहाँ पर नौकरी करने के लिए आ रहे और किसी के साथ हमारा कोई साहूकार नहीं है। हम चाहते हैं कि जो राहुल भट्ट का जो कत्ल किया गया है उसके पीछे हम कहते हैं कि वो क्यों किया गया, हम लोग को क्यों मारते, हमारा कसूर क्या है, बस ये इतना बता दो हमारा कसूर क्या है और हम लोग खुद पे खुद चुपचाप करके बैठ जाएंगे। हमारा कसूर क्या है? आगे हम यही चाहते हैं कि एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन यहाँ पर आए, हमें लोगों को एक सीबीएम के तहत एक कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्डिंग मेजर जो उन लोगों ने बोला था हम लोगों को, वो फेल है, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन फेल है।
Anybody can come and sneak with a pistol in his pocket and come in the secured zone like Tehsil office. See the gravity of situation. A Tehsil office is meant to be very secured place. And when the Pandit working on his table desk, bullets are pierced his body, he is shot point blank.
Will you be able to work now? What have officials told you?
Now. We have seen number of times we have paid on my.
Haven't they assured you security now?
They are helpless. They have totally failed. The system has collapsed. Security has collapsed. Safety has collapsed.
I'm joined by Kashmiri Pandits. Also, आप बताएं कल से क्या है, आप कह रहे हैं कि यहाँ के लोकल मुसलमान भी आपके साथ।
We are highly thankful and we are really privileged that we live in Sheikhpura area. I may say right from the moment yesterday when we got the news Rahul was killed and we staged protest here or we sat here, our community, majority community, Muslim brothers from the Sheikhpura, they stood shoulder to shoulder with us. They were even supplying water supplies and they ensured that this is the collapse or this is the mourning for whole of the community. We really feel thankful to them and this is appreciating. My name is Sanjay. Yes.
जी आपका नाम?
मैं संदीप कौर, मैं लास्ट 2011 बैच से यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय हूँ। कश्मीर में हम रह रहे हैं, यहाँ हम काम कर रहे हैं और यहाँ हमें काम करना है लोकल्स के साथ, कश्मीरी मुस्लिम के। हम कश्मीरी है, हमारे रूट्स यहाँ के, हम कहीं बाहर के नहीं है, हमारे रूट्स यहाँ के, हम यहाँ काम करें। मेरा इतना ही कहना है, गवर्नमेंट आज तक ना कोई सपोर्ट कर पाई, ना कोई हमारी सेफ्टी के लिए, ना कुछ। हमने काम करा, ये मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी हमारे साथ है, हमारे मॉर्निंग में साथ है, हमारी खुशियों में साथ है, हम इनके साथ रह रहे हैं, ये हमारे साथ रहे। मुझे यही कहना है कि गवर्नमेंट का आखिर प्लान क्या है, गवर्नमेंट आखिर चाहती क्या है। कल राहुल जी को वो ऑफिस में, मजिस्ट्रेट के ऑफिस में नहीं बचा पाए, तो हम जैसे लोगों को जो कश्मीर वैली में ओवरऑल गुलमर्ग, पहलगाम, अनंतनाग, साउथ, उड़ी, गुरेज तक हमारे लोग हैं सर, हमारे इंजीनियर्स, हमारे पैकेज है,
कश्मीरी मुसलमान,
उन लोगों को जब सेफ्टी नहीं तो हम लोगों को क्या है सर? हमारा होना क्या है?
एक मिनट इनसे आपका नाम?
मुझे जावेद इकबाल बोलते हैं।
आप मुसलमान हैं? यही
मैं मुसलमान हूँ और बडगाम से ताल्लुक रखता हूँ और सोयबुक एरिया से बिलोंग करता हूँ। एक्चुअली मैं ये बताना चाहूँगा कि हम कश्मीरी पंडित के साथ शाना बशाना है रहेंगे, लेकिन जो इस वक्त हाल हम सबके साथ हो रहा है, चाहे वो कश्मीरी मुसलमान है, चाहे वो कश्मीरी पंडित है, चाहे वो कश्मीरी सिख है, जो भी है मजलूम की
कल से
तरफ
कहते हैं कि पानी शानी जो ला रहे हैं तो मुसलमान ही यहाँ के ला रहे हैं।
मुसलमान को ही आगे आना चाहिए। और आज जुमा का दिन है, मैं मतलब ये इल्तिजा करता हूँ तमाम मुसलमान कश्मीरियों से
जी।
कि जुमा का दिन है, आ जाइए और इसके खिलाफ प्रोटेस्ट कीजिए। और यहाँ पर जो हुकूमत है वो टोटली फेल हो चुकी है इनको प्रोटेक्ट करने में। और ये जो मजिस्ट्रेट के अंदर जो बंदा मारा जाता है, तो बाकी जो बाकी एरिया है, बाकी जगह जो कश्मीरी पंडित जाएगा कहाँ? जब मजिस्ट्रेट के सामने किलिंग होती है तो दूसरी जगह
सर गवर्नमेंट हमेशा 70 लाख टूरिस्ट है। सर
clearly politician may try to divide, but the people here at Sheikhpura in Badgam, Muslims and Kashmiri Pandits, that together protest against this brutal killing of Rahul Bhatt. Not only that, they say they served water them, organized other things for this protest since yesterday. They are staying shoulder to shoulder protesting against this killing.
Let's take this right across to the guests on our show. Tanveer Sadiq, spokesperson of the National Conference, is with us. Alok Vats of the BJP is also with us. Tanveer Sadiq, these targeted killings back to haunt the valley, now a growing law and order situation after Rahul Bhatt's killing. What are mainstream political parties saying on this? What is the view that you're taking? How is this acceptable?
Ankita, first of all, it is such a dastardly act. I mean, it is so painful. The unending cycle of this violence haunts us. Yesterday it was Rahul, today it is Riyaz from Pulwama. I mean, it is a murder. Nothing can ever justify a murder. Every right-thinking person feels the pain and condemns it. Because with every killing, Kashmir and Kashmiri had died. The fact that all this is true, the fact that BJP told us that post-August 5, their Pandits will return, they'll have a respectable return. There'll be no violence. Unfortunately, in the last 1 year, this is the 6th killing. You cannot protect the minority, and when they are protesting on the streets, you go and lathi charge them. If you cannot protect them, tell us. That is why an elected government is very important, where you can at least they have somewhere to go and ask questions. Who do we ask today? This is such an unfortunate incident. I mean, it's like somebody was saying, this Rahul Bhatt was working in a tehsil office. Imagine a person going inside, shooting him, and then leaving without being traced. This should tell you the ground situation right now, and it is very unfortunate.
Alok Vats, when Kashmiri Pandits now say that they feel unsafe, they feel that they have effectively been let down by the central government. And, we see the repeated instances of such targeted killings. What's gone wrong?
Look, Ankita, at now they are agitated, and rightly agitated, because somebody from their family has been killed. That too a young boy of 36-year-old and in his office. But can you not forget that what Kashmir was and what Kashmir is today? There is a sky difference in both the situations. Yes, things need to be improved more, but
repeated killings, Mr. Vats, how have things improved if such targeted killings are happening at frequent intervals?
The amount of killings that were taking place earlier, the way things were getting disrupted earlier, today it is much under control. But still, I agree to say that the scope of improvement is still there. We are fighting it out. We are fighting against all odds, against terrorist organizations, against organizations from outside India funding these terrorists, against people who are who want to destabilize the country, who want to destabilize Kashmir. But still, we are going to get it done. It might take some more time, but don't worry.
But Mr. Vats, have security forces in Jammu and Kashmir become so used to dealing with a particular brand of protesters that before you know it, tear gas shells are fired as almost the first response? Here you have Kashmiri Pandits saying they're already feeling unsafe, and they're being fired upon with tear gas shells.
You see, still these forces, negative forces, are still active in Kashmir. And neighboring country, what they are, the way they are helping them out is known to everybody. But We are fighting against all odds, trying to maintain peace, trying to bring harmony, trying to strengthen the people, trying to, secure them as much as we can. But still, there are places which needs more improvement. We are working on it, and we assure you that very soon, things will be normal, and people will there have a free hand, free air to breathe, no fear of these kind of things.
So Tanveer Sadiq, the BJP says this is a work in progress. Things are already improving and they will improve further.
Ankita, 3-4 things. It is so painful to listen to people from BJP and still justifying that things are improving. Makhanlal Bindru was there. He was there while in 19s when things were really pretty bad in Kashmir. He was killed. I mean, he stayed back in 19s when the situation was really bad. He still stayed on and he was killed. This should tell you how unsafe the Kashmiri Pandits feel. And he just spoke about negative people. These people are protesting for a family member who has been shot dead. They have all the right to protest. Why should there always be a bullet or a tear gas shell to an answer if there is a protest on the road asking for protection, and rightly so? Why should... What is this? We are in progress.
It's a good question to ask, an expert in the matter. SP Vaid, former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir, is with us on the phone line. I want to put that question to him. Mr. Vaid, your thoughts when you see the visuals we're playing out in our screens in front of us, protesters who are clearly agitated at the death of a completely unfortunate and shocking death of a young man, 36 years old, and then these protesters are being met with, tear gas shells. Do you believe this was appropriate?
I just joined you. Which protest are you talking?
Right. Sorry, Mr. Vaid. Let me just introduce the subject to you. Kashmiri Pandits protesting in the valley after the death of a 36-year-old Kashmiri Pandit who was shot at by terrorists yesterday. There have been protests through the night, and this morning there have been clashes with the police and tear gas shells were fired as well. So my question to you really is on the law and order situation currently and, the kind of response we've seen from security personnel.
Ankita, I think this should have been started out with entering into dialogue with the people who are protesting. I don't think the force should have been used. Already they are the sufferers of the situation, and it should be handled with a lot of empathy, which police should have. That's my personal view, and I think the officers at the ground level should have contact with their leaders and talk to them, pacify them that we are doing whatever is possible and not use force, even if it is tear gas. I think it should have been avoided. That's my personal view.
Fair enough, Mr. Vaid. But on the larger question of the law and order situation in Kashmir right now, would you say there's been a marked improvement following the abrogation of special status, following the sort of crackdowns that we've seen in recent months? There seem to be targeted killings happening with almost alarming frequency.
Ankita, you're absolutely right, but I have a different take on this. See, you have an enemy country totally sponsoring terrorism from across. That has not stopped. You have, there are many parameters on which there's a lot of improvement. Today, you don't see stone pelting. You don't see bands and hartals. On smallest pretext, the Hurriyat used to call bands. Today, Hurriyat is in disarray. Terror financing has been controlled. Many other parameters which I can list to you. But yes, the handlers across continue to change their tactics, seeing the response of the security forces. We had huge successes, but then they have now taken on this hybrid terrorism now, taking with small weapons, people who were upper ground workers, using their services. Now, police and security forces need to counter this, come up to this challenge. And I see if they work intelligently, we had seen many ups and downs since early 90s, and the J&K police and the security forces have faced them head on. I think if they work hard, I have no doubt that they will be overcoming this also.
Okay. Let me just read out a tweet from former Chief Minister Omar Abdullah in the last few minutes. He says, and if we can get that tweet, it's shameful that legitimate and justified protests are met with a heavy-handed response. This is not new for the people of Kashmir, because when all the administration has is a hammer, every problem resembles a nail. If the LG's government can't protect Kashmiri Pandits, they have a right to protest. Mr. Vaid, I want a response for you also on this, but first, Alok, what's your thoughts?
Well, as the DGP has said, that you see cross-border terrorism has not stopped, funding has not stopped from there, and he has been there, and he says there has been a marked improvement in things, which I was telling you earlier also, that there has been a marked improvement, but still there is scope for improvement. And if somebody is protesting, of course, there should be a dialogue with them and try to calm them. But if they go haywire and some bad elements get inside and start doing something, notorious, then these measures are resorted to, like tear gas or lathi charge. But their protest is valid. I don't disagree with that. They have all the right to protest. But under the BJP rule, things have improved remarkably. And let me tell you, very shortly in coming months, things will be under total control. We are not sitting idle. Day and night we are working towards the peace and prosperity of the people of that area. And we have a commitment that Kashmiri Pandits will be rehabilitated, and we will make sure that they are rehabilitated without fear, without any problems.
Tadveer Sadiq, you feel that elections are the only way out of this situation?
At least there'll be somebody answerable there. Alok Bhatt just talked about that under BJP rule things have improved. Under BJP rule you have killing. Under BJP rule you have lathi charge.
Under your rule
even till now, none of the administration or the LG has gone and spoken to these people who are protesting. Is this the way? I mean, the fact that these people have a genuine reason to protest. Like Mr. Omar Abdullah said, not if you see everything like a nail, you'll always try to hammer it. The fact that there should be some dissent, and you need to respect that. You need to go to these people and assure that they'll be protected, they will be, made feel comfortable. On the other side, what you do, you go and lathi charge them. The fact is that it is their government, it is BJP's government, it is BJP's LG. And
I just want to know, under your rule there was no killing. Under your rule there was no killing taking place in Kashmir.
I'm not saying no, but you said after August 5, the killings will stop. You said that after August 5,
gentlemen, I'm going to pause you there for a moment. One more tweet from Omar Abdullah. Mr. Watts, I want your response to this. Omar Abdullah tweeting again saying, tourism is not normalcy, it's a barometer of economic activity. Normalcy is the absence of fear, the absence of terror, the inability of militants to strike at will, the presence of democratic rule, and by any yardstick that you choose to use, Kashmir is far from normal today. Do you at least agree with that assessment when you say there is scope for improvement?
Yes, I do agree. There is still normalcy has to return in a 100% manner. It is not there. I'm not trying to do politics on everything. These people are used to. For everything they want politics. No. Kashmir has to be, it needs improvement. There has to be further improvement. There has to be further tightening of security. I agree.
And how many decades till you decide that now it is safe? It's been 5 years,
sir. We have not even 1 decade old. Not even 1 decade old.
I'm going to bring in Mr. Vaid for the last word on this.
His legacy and
Gentlemen, please, let me bring in the former DGP, SP Vaid. A quick last comment from you when, Omar Abdullah says, when all the administration has is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail.
Ankita, I don't want to comment on political matters. I have all through remained a police officer, and even after retirement would like to continue. I had the honor of working even with Mr. Omar Abdullah. I have a lot of regard for him. I have no comments on that, but yes, what pains me is that we should be united in this challenge that we face from Pakistan, the cross-border terrorism, and all the political parties and the ruling establishment should be together in facing this challenge. It's a challenge not only to the people of Kashmir, but to the whole country.
All right, we leave it at that. SP Vaid, Alok Vats, Tanvir Sadiq, thank you all for joining us.